Hey bookish friends! I don't know if I'll be able to get this video done in one go, but I'm going to try. It's time to film my 26 to read in 2026 list. This is actually the last one I'm going to do. A bit because my reading journal only has 26 spots for books with the layout that I do. And because it's getting to the point where trying to fit in more than 2 books on average for each month on top of, you know, my TBR game and book clubs I want to do and everything, it's just becoming too much for structure of what I want to read, because I do like to leave about half of my TBR or half the books I read for the month to be able to mood read. So it's the last one. I think after this I'll do 24 books that I'll prioritize every year. But yeah, let's get started with nonfiction first. I picked I picked 8 nonfiction for this year. I don't know if that's the same as last year, if it's up, but first up we have The Life-Giving Home, Nurturing Faith Through Feasting, One Meal at a Time by Sally Clarkson. I really enjoyed her Life-Giving Home book this year, 2025, so I wanted to pick this one up. When Sally Clarkson sets a table in her home, it's more than just a place and a time to eat and run. It's an opportunity to gather as family and friends, to connect and commune, to open children's hearts to lively discussions that will feed their faith, and to enjoy the beauty and bounty of God's creation. This one is not set up like The Life-Giving Home. There is not a chapter per month, so I can just pick it up and read the whole thing. Next, I have A Hobbit, a Wardrobe, and a Great War by Joseph LeConte. So sorry. A friend of mine read this last year, and she also read The Mythmakers and said that this is a good companion book to that. So we have J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis enjoyed one of the most consequential friendships of the 20th century, a friendship that emerged from the suffering and sorrow of war. Both men fought on the front lines during the First World War and discovered in its wake a new calling on their lives. This engrossing true story explores for the first time, how the Great War influenced the life of each writer and subsequently shaped the nature and character of their respective towering achievements, The Lord of the Rings and The Chronicles of Narnia. Next up, we have Against the Waves, Christian Order in a Liberal Age by John Harris. He came and spoke at my church's conference this year, and some of this particular book, there were copies available at my church. In a world increasingly marked by confusion and novelty, Against the Waves offers a hopeful vision of order rooted in God's creation. This book confronts the disorientation of our age, calling for a return to divine order, natural relationships, and strong localized communities. Drawing on lessons from the past, it urges the recovery of Christian principles that once shaped Western civilization, principles that honored human worth, nurtured virtue, and inspired selfless service to God and others. I really enjoyed his lecture, so I'm interested to try one of his books. Next, I have Miracle at Tenwick, The Life of Dr. Ernie Stury by Greg Lewis. Fern, did you recommend this one? One of you did. I think it was her. Lord, I don't know what you want me to do, but whatever you can do with my life, here it is. When Indiana farmer boy Ernie Stury uttered this prayer at the close of a church service in 1948, he would never have imagined how God would use him to build one of the most successful medical mission facilities in the world. This compelling biography recounts Ernie's remarkable life and ministry as a medical missionary in Tenwick, Kenya. And I'll stop there. Okay, I have You, Who, Why You Matter, and How to Deal with It by Rachel Jankovic. If who am I is the question you're asking, Rachel Jankovic doesn't want you to find yourself or Follow your heart. Those lies are nothing compared to the confidence, freedom, and clarity of purpose that comes with knowing what is actually essential about you, and the answer to that question is at once less and more than you are hoping for. Christians love the idea that self-expression is the essence of a beautiful person, but that's a lie too. With trademark humor and no-nonsense practicality, Rachel explains that the fake story of self, starting with the inventions of a supremely ugly little man named Sart, and we, men and women, young and old, have bought the lie that's the best self with terrible results. I was talking with some women at church, and we talked about how No Time to Be Dumb, or her other book, was no good, but this one is good, so I'm going to read it and see if that's true. And I can't remember where I heard of A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23 by W. Philip Keller. I don't remember where I got this recommendation from, but I trusted that person enough to go buy the nice pretty copy. So, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. With a true shepherd's experience and insight, Philip Keller guides readers to discover the great pastures and cool waters of fulfillment described in Psalm 23, the Shepherd's Psalm. And I have two more nonfiction books, both of which I believe I can borrow from a friend of mine. One of them is Simplified Organization, Learn to Love What Must Be Done. Yes, you can love keeping, even cleaning your home. Let's be real, homemaking is harder than we thought it'd be. Others make it look easy, but we end the day exhausted with so much left to do. We feel unprepared. This book will shift your perspective on homemaking and guide you through 6 steps to completely and cheerfully manage your home. Our homes matter because people matter, and homes are where people are built. Being overwhelmed and paralyzed by perfectionism is optional. We can do better. Another one that is nonfiction is My Dear Hemlock by Tilly Dillahay. I've heard this called a version of the Screw Tape Letters, but geared toward women. We have no intention of explaining how this correspondence, which we now offer to the public, fell into our hands. Inside, you will find the letters exchanged between the diabolical Madame... Oh no. I just lost it. Hoax Trot and her junior devil Hemlock, who are scheming against a young woman's relationship with her creator. They plot to sabotage every feature of her life, from sex to female friendship to empathy, motherhood, and aging. Ladies, this book will give you the eyes to see the feminine vices that hide between feminine virtues. Now back to my spreadsheet so I can see which ones. Oh, okay. I did put a couple of books that have been languishing on my Kindle for a while on here. The first is Argosy Junction by Shatona Havoc. The Romance of the Montana Rockies has a pull on Matt Rushby that he's never fully understood. Sheep, mountains, and a family wounded by the spiritual abuses of a cult capture his heart on his first vacation from the metropolis of Rockland. While he learns how destructive the church can be to its own, the Argosies discover a Jesus they forgot. Sorry, I'm in the squeaky chair over here. I went a little crazy with adding first book in a series to my list. Now that I'm like, whatever. I can do series books. It's fine. As long as I'm not putting like a bunch of books from the same series on. I think I'm good. So the first one we have is The Mysterious Howling by Mary Rose Wood. This is the first book. And the Incorrigible Children of Ashton Place. Discovered in the forest of Ashton Place, the incorrigibles are no ordinary children. Luckily, Miss Penelope Lumley is no ordinary governess. A proud graduate of the Swanburn Academy for Poor Bright Females, she must use all her skills to tame these clever canine children. Latin, poetry, and the use of globes will simply have to wait. And I don't like spoilers. so I'm not going to need the full back. Next, we have Keller, the first book in the Nightingale trilogy. Alright, I just hauled this one. What if you could edit memories with a single touch? The world that was is gone, lost everything except living memory, but remembering comes at a terrible price. 62 years after the apocalypse, a new society has emerged from the ashes of the old world, where highly valued memories are traded for nostalgia. Traded, and nostalgia is worth dying, and even killing for. Enslaved by a cruel master, Stephanie Winter is forced to use her rare ability to manipulate memories to numb the darkest secrets of the ruling aristocracy. Sorry. Oh, man, what is with me and words today? Next, I have A Talent for Murder by Andrew Wilson. This is the first book in... I don't know that it says. Anyway, Shatona sent me book 4, so I got book 1. London, 1926. Agatha Christie is boarding a train to visit her literary agent, preoccupied with the recent devastating knowledge that her husband is having an affair. Suddenly, she feels a tap on her back, causing her to lose her balance, and then the sensation of someone pulling her to safety from the rush of an oncoming train. My furnace is kicking on. I shall be back. I don't know if you can tell by the outfit change or the different camera angle, maybe. I don't know how well this will line up. But it's a different day, and we're just gonna keep on going. The next one I have is Murder in Postscript. This is the first book in A Lady of Letters mystery series by Mary Winters. When one of her readers asks for advice following a suspected murder, Victorian Countess Amelia Amesbury, who secretly pens the popular Lady Agony column, has no choice but to investigate in this first book in a charming new historical mystery series. And yeah, so she has a pen name. I've heard good things. I believe Shatona sent this one to me. Oh, books are out of order. And continuing in the first book in a series vein, I have The Enchanted Wood by Enid Blyton. A friend of mine recommended The Magic Faraway Tree, but that's book 2, so I want to read book 1 first. Climb the faraway tree and discover magical lands with Moonface, Saucepan Man, and Silky the Fairy. Have you ever wanted to climb a magic tree? Jo, Beth, and Franny move to a new home right next door to the Enchanted Wood. Here they can have fantastic adventures and meet some very special new friends. All they need to do is find the faraway tree. And then I have Above the Circle of the Earth by E. Stephen Burnett. The fight for the space mission begins in his homeworld. Brock Rivers never wanted to be a repairman on Mars. Years ago, he failed to protect his family, and now he labors across the frontier planet to keep his children alive and escape cause. That's in all caps. But the space-faring humanist regime is taking over Martian colonies, forcing all to join the secular state. I have The Time Door by Shannon McDermott. Oh, this one also takes place on Mars and has a very similar cover. I'm gonna have to space these apart. A reckless last mission on Mars, a crusade for justice on Earth. Reuben Jackson is the only one who still cares about Mars. In the shambles of the Great Collapse, Earth has abandoned the Mars explorers to their fate. But Reuben will make a stand for the Mars team, even against the powerfully united politicians and scientists. In Too Deep, he discovers hidden conspiracies and unexpected allies. And the last one that I own a physical copy of as of now is Peril at End House by Agatha Christie. This is a Poirot. 3 near-fatal accidents in 3 days. As Miss Buckley told of her narrow brush with death, Hercule Poirot felt a thrill of fear. Were these accidents or attempted murder? I think Chantal, as Chantal Reads All Day, did a spoilery vlog on that one a few years ago. And you may have noticed I am not at 26 yet. I do have a couple of books on my Kindle. I already did Argosy Junction, and the other Kindle book I have that I want to read is Murder at the Spring Ball, the first book in the Lord Edgington Investigates series. My friend Shatona has raved about this series, and so I'm like, I gotta check this out. So I have the first book on my Kindle. A little music, a little dancing, a little murder at the Spring Ball, England, 1925. After years shut away from the world, former detective Lord Edgington of Cranley Hall plans a grand ball to celebrate his 75th birthday. But when someone starts bumping off members of his scheming family, the old man enlists his teenage grandson to help find the killer before one of them is next. And then I do have several books that I can get from my library, either physical copies or through the Libby app. So I kind of did a mix. I didn't want to just do books that are on my cart. I didn't want to buy all of the books, and so I put some older ones. The first of which is Night Falls on Predicament Avenue by Jamie Jo Wright. I read, except for one book, I've read them all chronologically when they were published, and I think this is the next one. All of her books, except for the one Love Inspired I read, have two timelines. We have 1910. Effie James is living a dream for two. Her younger sister is harboring a secret that has left timid Effie determined to fulfill her daring sister's grand plan of seeking out adventure in their small Iowa town. When a British gentleman arrives, disrupting their peace with efforts to find the wife many claim lived her final days at the now abandoned house at 322 Predicament Avenue, Effie is thrust into intrigue she couldn't have prepared for, but what she finds inside will forever link her to the scandal staining the house walls and a woman whose secrets promise a curse. A century later, Nora Richmond is living out her late twins' dream of running their great aunt's bread and breakfast on Predicament Avenue, a place Nora believes nothing good can come out of after her sister's abduction and murder 13 years ago. Her first guest is a crime historian and podcaster, and Nora resolves to stay far away from the charming and enigmatic man until another guest is found dead. Sounds good. And continuing along with first books in a series, I have Miss Bunkle's Book by D.E. Stevenson, another Shatona recommends. Barbara Bunkle is in a bind. Times are harsh. Barbara's bank account has seen better days. Stumped for ideas, Barbara draws inspiration from fellow residents of her quaint English village, writing a revealing novel that features the townsfolk as characters. The smashing bestseller is published under the pseudonym John Smith, which is a good thing because villagers recognize the truth. But what really turns her world around is when events in real life start mimicking events in the book. Funny, charming, and insightful, this novel reveals what happens when people see themselves through someone else's eyes. And then I've seen several people who I follow on BookTube say they really liked Wishtress by Nadine Brandeis. Her books are kind of hit and miss for me. Loved Fox, couldn't finish Romanov, and thought the first book in her series, I think A Time to Die, I read the first one and didn't continue with the series. So Wishtress. She didn't ask to be the Wishtress. Mirth was born with the ability to turn her tears into wishes, but when a granted wish goes wrong, she is cursed. The next tear she sheds will kill her. She must travel to the well to break the curse before it claims her life, and before the king's militarian find her. To survive their journey, Mirth must harden her heart to keep herself from crying even a single tear. He can stop time with a snap of his fingers. Ooh. Bastian's powerful and rare talent came in handy when he kidnapped the old king. Now the new king has a job for him. Find the Wishtress and deliver her to the Schloss. But Bastian needs a wish of his own. He gains Mirth's trust by promising to take her to the well, but once he gets what he needs, he'll turn her in, as long as his growing feelings for the girl with a stone heart don't compromise him. I don't like that trope, so I'm glad I'm getting it from my library. A Recipe for Happiness. 4 women, 1 medieval Italian castle, plenty of wisteria, and solitude as needed. Women at the center of the Enchanted April are alike only in their dissatisfaction with their everyday lives. They find each other at the castle of their dreams through a classified ad in a London newspaper one rainy February afternoon. The ladies expect a pleasant holiday, but they don't anticipate that the month they spend in Portofino will reintroduce them to their true natures and reacquaint them with joy. Now, if the same transformation can be worked on their husbands and lovers, the enchantment will be complete. Okay. Then I have Breaking Stalin's Nose by Eugene Yelchin. This is a classic book. I think my boys might be reading it eventually for school, so I'm going to pre-read it and see what age I think it would be appropriate for my particular boys to read. Sasha Zaychik. Sorry, I'm butchering the Russian. Has known the laws of the Soviet young pioneers since the age of 6. The young pioneer is devoted to Comrade Stalin, the Communist Party, and communism. A young pioneer is a reliable comrade and always acts according to conscience. A young pioneer has a right to criticize shortcomings, but now that it is finally time to join the young pioneers, the day Sasha has awaited for so long, everything seems to go awry. He breaks a classmate's glasses with a snowball, he accidentally damages a bust of Stalin in the school hallway, and worst of all, his father, the best communist he knows, was arrested just last night. Next up, we have Ariadne and the Legend of the Fire Rose. This one is very highly rated on Goodreads. I've heard good things. I actually just purchased a copy. It's coming. I won a gift card and it covered 2/3 of the cost, so I just went ahead and got it so I'd have it. Ariadne never expected. Is it Ariadne? We'll just call her Ari. Never expected that the last thing her mother would ever say to her would lead her to a mysterious manor in the middle of the woods. Desperate and alone, she finds herself at the mercy of the people that live there. She quickly learns that it is not just any manor. It is a school for girls that teaches weaponry. With nowhere else to go, Ariadne decides to enroll in the school, but as time goes on, a darkness creeps in from the forest. People are disappearing without a trace. Vicious animal packs are growing, and strange markings are appearing on the trees. As Ari tries to find out why these things are happening, she discovers that the manor is hiding something, a legendary rose of fire, and when she finds it just days after her 16th birthday, she is surprised when its flames don't burn her. Instead, the rose leaves her forever changed, and with more questions than answers. And I have The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. It's been a while since I read a Sanderson, and I've heard good things about this one too. Obviously, it's on my Goodreads TBR. This was one of his secret projects. A man awakes in a clearing in what appears to be medieval England, with no memory of who he is, where he came from, or why he is there. Chased by a group from his own time, his sole hope for survival lies in regaining his missing memories, making allies among the locals, and perhaps even trusting in their superstitious boasts. His only help from the real world should have been a guidebook entitled The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England, except his copy exploded during transit. The few fragments he managed to save provide clues to his situation, but can he figure them out in time to survive? And finally, I hope this is all. I didn't keep count. The Keeper of the Bees by Jean Stratton Porter. Set in the author's adopted home of California in 1925, this is Jean Stratton Porter's last novel, a story filled with wisdom, a love of nature, and her own abiding optimism. In it, a master beekeeper, his bees, and the natural beauty of California restore a wounded World War I veteran to health. I really enjoyed reading her. Now I can't remember. I just blanked on the title. The one I read in April. I'll put it up. Oh, that's gonna bug me. Anyway, I think I'm gonna cut back on my reading goals for next year. With joining a co-op and having an increased amount of curriculum that I'm going through, I just don't have as much time to read, and then I'm going to be adding another kid I'm teaching next school year in the fall. So yeah, I think I'm going to, I usually set my Goodreads goal at it was at 175 books for a while, and this year it was 150, and I might reach it. So I think for next year, just knowing that I have less time to read, and with making YouTube videos and other hobbies, I'm going to set my goal at 100 for next year. And I feel good about that, because I also want to not feel bad about tackling some longer books. I have some books over 500 pages that I want to read next year. And I definitely want to do Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. And I think there is also, at the Candlewick Library, she's doing a dinosaur Jurassic Park themed readathon for next year. So I think those are the two I'm going to commit to. And I'll see if I keep up with Chantel's indie author read-along book club. I'm not on Instagram, but the books look good, and I like supporting indie authors. I have the first one. We'll see if I continue, and I might have some other goals, like trying a new author. I really liked having a goal of finishing series last year. I only had a goal of 3 series, and I definitely did that. So I might have a goal of finishing 5 series for next year. I might bump it up to higher. I haven't quite decided yet. And yeah, I might do another bingo board, but I won't have 25 prompts. I'll probably just do 9 if I decide to do one at all. And yeah, let me know. Do you do a 26 books to read in 2026? Do you do 24? Do you have any other reading goals? I'm really interested in hearing what those are. And until next week, happy reading.